Meet Sun Kim. He's Korean. He lived in Singapore before.
I'm sorry, Singaporeans, but I'm really proud of my people here.
And 4 years ago, Sun started a business in Seoul.
I'm doing my own startup called Swing.
There is $200 million valuation now. We talked about the cost of living in Seoul,
This house, you have to pay 1 million.
K-pop and K-drama,
This is so weird and so niche.
and Korean language features.
Oh, you're...
This one.
My name is Max. Enjoy. You went to INSEAD, right?
Yeah.
In Singapore. Can you compare life in Seoul and Singapore, like two big cities? What's the three biggest differences?
Basically, it feels like the same country to me. Number one biggest difference is definitely the language and the living environment. In Korea, as you can see, we have some, I would say, histories, unlike Singapore. So history, it's a good thing and bad thing at the same time. Good thing because you have some stories behind, but bad thing is very difficult to newcomers to install yourself into and really get into this, get to know about this country. So it's hard for, as I would say, relatively a bit harder for foreigners to live in than Singapore because of all this super Korean things. And number two different thing about Koreans are we have much more diverse things to enjoy here. Because it's basically it's bigger than, we're small countries, but bigger than Singapore. But there are, sometimes very big metropolitan cities. Sometimes there are small ones that you can enjoy. And you not only have a CBD type of really buildings, but at the same time you have some farms and a lot of diverse things as well. And also you have a lot of enjoyable things like musics and concerts and a lot of museums as well. When you have history, you have a lot of different things to enjoy. Third thing, I would say, girls are pretty. I'm sorry, Singaporeans, but I'm really proud of my people here. Not only girls, but girls and men. They really take care of. I'm sorry, I'm not the good example. Sorry.
You are.
Just to make sure, I'm the ugliest man in Korea. Okay. So all the people that you see on the Netflix or the TV, they are the right examples. I'm the bad example. But I would say people are really fashionable here. They really really care about, maybe it's because of the weather too. We have 4 different weathers. It means you have 4 different opportunities to look fashionable. But when you're hot, always like forever, 24 hours and 365 days, come on, let's relax, right? So I would say one thing that I got shocked about Singapore is having 2 months of summer, I experienced that, but having 6 months of summer, 8 months of summer, it was a shocking experience to me. Yeah. And my closet was really, really small back in Singapore, but now in Korea, you have to carry all these things. One thing very unique about Korean people, they really care about their fashion and their appearances. So if you're a foreigner and if you give some compliments about their appearances, oh, you're very fashionable, or you look even ages. We love to talk about ages.
Is it?
And you never say the truth in front of anybody. Hey, if you think this guy or this lady is 40-year-old, minus 10, okay? Just minus 10, remember it.
To be on the safe side.
Yeah. Always. Oh, you look like 30 when you think she's 40.
Oh, yeah.
Then she's already happy. As a Korean national, I found it very difficult. I found it very weird when I heard from my friends from Canada or US. She told me, "Huh, son, you're very judgmental." Like, what do you mean by judgmental? Like, why do you judge on my look? I didn't judge. I said compliments about you. Like, why do you give me compliments about my appearance? There was very awkward moment because in Korea, giving compliments about appearances, your fashion, your age, or how you look, it's very normal, and you have to do it because it makes you become very polite. Oh, you're like. It's saying something good about appearance. Yeah. It's very.
Oh, that's why you told me this. So you have a nice avatar.
Yeah,
nice profile pic.
That's kind of maybe.
That's the first thing that that told me.
Yeah, that runs in my blood.
If you want more, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and I see you in the next video. Speaking about cost of living, how would you compare Seoul to other countries, to other big cities?
I would say in general, it's cheaper than the cities with the similar GDP per capita. It also depends on what kinds of people you are. Yeah. If you love to eat a very expensive food, a very I would say gourmet food. Yeah. I would say it's more expensive to live in Korea because nice foods are relatively highly priced. If you compare to Japan, for example, where I used to go pretty often, you have a very good foods at a very good price.
Yeah.
Most of it. If you pay, I would say $100 to $200 per meal, you experience very good food.
Yeah.
But here in Korea, pretty normal. If you want to go on a date with a fiance on an important day,
Yeah.
$100. It sounds like, of course, but most of the time it's more than $100. But if you want to live in a big apartment, the rents are so cheap here,
Is it?
very cheap.
But there is a thing that I heard that you need to pay a year of rent amount. Like let's say you're renting for like 3,000 USD, and then you need to give like cash 36,000 USD to the owner.
No. There are two types of payment here in
Okay,
Korea.
tell me.
Very unique. One is just monthly rent, just like I said, like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. By the way, $3,000 make you live in like a kingdom.
Is it?
It's very
Oh wow! I moved here from Singapore.
Of course, Singapore. Like
Singapore.
the first thing
So
that I got
expensive.
so shocked about Singapore and France or even Japan is the rent. Monthly rent is really high. Well, that's type number one. Type number two is actually you don't pay. You just put the deposit. You don't pay at all, but you put a very high deposit of like let's say something called cap rate, which is if you divide the annual rent by the cap rate, which is 5% or 6%, it depends on the economic situation, that becomes housing price, right? And housing price multiplied by 70% or 80% is the deposit that you have to pay. It's not pay, you just put the deposit. You know, if you live in this house, let's say one floor, you have to pay roughly 1 million to buy because we're in a very central area, by the way.
Yeah.
1 million USD
For how many rooms?
for one floor. One floor.
One floor.
Yeah, it's not a big one. So,
Okay. So
1
2 or 3 rooms.
but if you give the owner about $700,000, which is 70%,
Yeah.
you don't need to pay any rent, and you'll get it back.
Oh, so I don't need to pay rent.
You don't need
But-
to pay rent.
So the owner just use your money to gain profit, but you don't pay the rent.
That's all. That's right. 66, roughly 70 square meters, with 3 rooms and 2 toilets, and you can buy it at roughly $600. So even in Central, it's super cheap, I would say. So we have this type two things, but usually the foreigners they choose the monthly rent because it's they're more used to it. But if you have a bit bigger money, it's a lot cheaper to pay out the deposit and get it back.
There are not many foreigners, I guess, here.
It's related to the business, I would say. We do have a lot of domestic business as well, and most of our business are basically our big guys are Hyundai or Samsung. If you choose top big 2 companies, and our economic systems are based on those 2 companies, I would say. To exaggerate a bit, right? So when you have just such a 2 big companies in one small country, and all the second supplier, third supplier, I would say, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, it really creates the economic system based on the manufacturing. And those manufacturers, you don't need foreigners, right? Maybe you need a cheap labor who's coming from, like I would say, the cheaper labor cost countries. But most of the people here working in Korea, they are Koreans. They're fine with just Koreans because you made something. It's not a service. If you are making a service business, then you need to get to know the country that you are selling to, right? But when you make things like phones and like home appliances and cars, and actually you can make the same thing without having foreigners in company. So that's why there are not many jobs.
What's the best 3 things everyone should experience if coming to Seoul?
First of all, you should try swing, my scooter. Yeah, Seoul is 6 times or 7 times bigger than Paris. Maybe Paris are too small, but Seoul, there are a lot of things to see and experience across Seoul. So you need a right transportation. But mass public, like if you ride in the subway, it really is running in the subway. So it's not like in Japan, in Tokyo. In Tokyo, even if you ride the train, subway, it's actually not subway, right? It's like on the train, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can see outside, but here, the only thing that you can actually trust is subway. But if you ride a subway, you cannot really enjoy it. So you need a right transportation here. So you'd better do some research about it, whether you choose a car or maybe scooter or whatever. Second, the food, different types of food. You may have heard about kimchi, but kimchi is not only Korean food that you can try. There are a lot of unique foods in Korea. It's a mix of Chinese culture and Japanese culture,
Yeah.
but it's fairly different from Western or fairly different from Southeast food.
Yeah, give me examples.
Give you example. So we're gonna try after this video, right? Samgyetang, right? So it's a chicken soup, but it's very different from chicken soup from Singapore because we really care about health. So which is slightly influenced by Chinese. So we put a lot of good herbs
Okay.
into a soup, and we boil it like not just like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. We boil it like forever. So Korean soups are like basically you need to boil like 24 hours. So you put a bone, for example, it could be chicken or it could be pork.
Yeah.
You just put it and you boil it until the bones are gone. So the soup feels really good. So that's one of the example, the Korean style soup, boiling forever type of soup.
Yeah.
That's number one. And number two is, of course, everybody knows barbecue. Like we love barbecue,
Right.
Korean style barbecue. Korean style means we don't just use gas or we use coals. We always use coals. And the taste from the coals are amazing. The second thing I miss about Korean foods whenever I go on a long business trip is number one is that's forever boiling soup, and second is the barbecue.
Speaking about food, I love bakeries. In Seoul, bakeries are everywhere. Like all these kinds of croissants with everything is amazing.
The coffee, everybody is coffee specialist. Coffee culture is very different.
Yeah.
If you are from Western countries, you would see a lot of different types of coffees. You know how Koreans or Asian people translate your coffee culture here in Asia. So basically, coffees are desserts here. It's not like you drink it to wake yourself up. It's more like you want some sweet, but sweets are too sweet. So you want some sour thing. So coffee is becoming more like that.
What time of day are you supposed to drink coffee?
Oh, every time. I was fooled by many Italian friends that I was drinking cappuccino for lunch or at 3 p.m. What the fuck? It's for morning. Like why do you drink such thing? Because I want to drink some sweets, and when you have sweets, you want some milk, right? So but milks are for kids. So that's why I like cappuccino, the coffee with the milk.
Something particular, something specific that I should see in Seoul.
Probably going for shopping.
Going for shopping, yeah.
Yeah, shopping.
That's what my wife doing right now.
When you go for shopping in other countries, you go for brands, right? So here, like we have a lot of creative, small, young designers.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So they don't just do copy paste other expensive brands, but they create like a bit more new things, very experimental things as well, with new materials and new design, and that's one of the fun thing to do. And you can see many shopping areas in Dongdaemun as well, in Dongdaemun, Namdaemun, and also these days if you go to Itaewon or Hannam-dong area, there are very small shops. Actually, they sell a lot of unique stuffs. So that's you cannot even Google it. Google the name of it. But if you walk by, you can find all the small shops.
What's the three worst things about Seoul that you don't like?
Loud, noisy. It's a different side of the coin, right? People are very passionate, and they really want to persuade you. They are really emotional, but at the same time, I would say we are very patient. We have a very high patience on loud sounds. The first thing that I feel myself, I'm in Korea, is the loud sounds. If you arrive in Korean airport in Seoul, you would hear a lot of Korean people's loud sounds. So that's not just people's sounds, but because people are very generous about being loud. Cars are loud, and if you go to a cafe, We are walking outside. Why? Because inside it's too loud. Maybe that's very personal. You know, maybe I'm too sensitive on this, on the loud sounds. But anyway, that's one thing I like about friends in Singapore and Japan. People are
More quiet.
quiet.
Yeah.
And number two is the language problem. I'm proud about my language and my own letters, but it's only used in Korea. So we don't use Roman letters. Very unique drawings. So you have no clue what this type of what does it mean. If you go to Japan or China, they have some similarities. You know, they use very similar stuffs, but we have very unique languages, and people are not very good at English, especially the old people. That's the worst things that make this country too hard to live or to travel.
You know what? I love how it sounds. The Korean language after Squid Game. I just love the sound though of Korean language. It's emotional. It's a bit like straightforward, kind of strict.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like emotional.
Which language do you compare?
I think it's quite unique because it has this harshness, but at the same time, it's like
You're
this one. Yeah. And,
you're right.
and after Squid Game, I just loved it.
아, 그래요?
Exactly, yeah.
그렇구나. 맞아. Yeah, you're right.
Number 3.
The cars are loud here. Seoul, definitely a lot of people are living in, but each family has more than one car, and they are running every day. Cars are I would say the headache, and not just the cars, but the drivers. They have a very bad habit.
It's a bit messy sometimes.
Yeah.
They don't signal.
Oh.
Yeah, do this stuff.
And they threaten people. They threaten non-cars anyway. They threaten bicycle and also swing scooters.
Yeah.
Everybody, everything except for the cars itself. So that's a really bad thing. So you should be really careful about the cars. You know, you don't expect the manners of other countries.
Yeah. Even like crossing the road on a pedestrian crossing, they don't let you go actually. So and people are waiting. Like I see like some Korean people, they're waiting
For the cars.
until the car like pass, and then they try to run the road.
Cars are more important than human beings. Basically, the law, the regulations are favoring the cars. For example, if you are pedestrian, if you're hit by a car, in other countries, I'm like, no matter what, it's car's fault. And someone died, right?
Yeah.
Of the car accident.
Yeah.
Then most of the time, like you don't even argue. It's a
Yes.
car. It's a car's fault because cars are big. Cars are 1,500 kilograms, right? Human beings are 17, maybe 80. That's all. But in Korea, by Korean law, you fight to find out
Who's right?
who was right and who was wrong. And most of the time, there's no 100 and 0. Most of the times, cars are 50, 60.
Okay.
And human beings are 40 and 50.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Wow.
even if you're
That's unusual.
That's very unusual in other countries, but in Korea, that's happening. So that's why people are actually, if I hit by the car, half of the fault should come to me. So I have to avoid the car. I have to
Oh my god.
respect the car.
Is there a status thing to own a car still, like in Seoul, in Korea?
It's still there. Like you can see like how people react to the non-car owners. So basically, the biggest fight I'm now doing against here in Korea is not to find the users. Users, they're happy. Basically, we're fighting against the car ownership, the car owners. Car owners, they are like, this is my land, this is my car. They are very proud of themselves by driving the cars yet. But instead, if you go to some more advanced cities, even if you have a car, so driving a car, sometimes the more educated you are, the more chances that you feel like, you feel guilty about the earth and about the infrastructure and environment, right? Look at this, they don't feel any guilty.
Yeah, like here you can. How many scooters you can ride here on this road? Just one car and like many scooters.
I wouldn't say it's a matter of a status,
Yeah.
but it's still, it's becoming less and less, but still people feel proud, or people proud of having a car, or people feel embarrassed about not having a car here yet.
Why do you think For the last few years, Korean culture just booming in the world, like K-pop, K-dramas.
I have no idea why they enjoy it because it's so weird and so niche. In my view, I really hope this thing can continue forever, but it really reminds me of the Japanese boom, Japanese culture boom.
80s,
Yeah,
90s.
like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It happened pretty long time, but you know it's gone all of a sudden. And Japanese culture are considered as as of now, very niche, super niche,
Yeah.
too niche to be enjoyed. But Japanese culture has never changed. They love the same thing, very similar things like that. But I would say the similar things are happening in Korea because they just found something very new in Korea, which is very different from West European and American and other Asian cultures. I think the uniqueness explains the most.
Yeah.
Very unique story. Very unique and being different. It looks very creative in the first place. I really hope we can continue this creativity and the uniqueness to continue.
It's interesting, you sound very patriotic about Korea, right?
Yeah.
And is it true? I mean, it feels
I
like
think,
it.
Yeah, we are patriotic. I don't know how to compare with Western countries. We are more like the smaller countries. If you look at our history, we've been invaded so many times, like forever. Like if you study Korean history, you cry, you keep crying. Always you're peaceful people, and people invade you. Because we're a peninsula, we're living in peninsula. You have a lot of invasions in your history, and then you naturally become patriotic. We really want to protect ourselves, and we want to really continue and to develop as one country.
For you, I guess it's true as well, because you were in Korea, then you went in INSEAD, Singapore and France as well, then Japan, but then you eventually came back to Korea, right? To start a business here, to work here. You had all the opportunities to move somewhere else.
INSEAD gave me a lot of opportunity, and it's very eye-wide opening experience as well. In terms of professional life and personal life as well. I tried many stuffs because if you imagine if you live in one small country for 29 years and you just become an international guy, you live in different world, and I experienced only 5 years, but 5 years was I wouldn't say it's enough, but it just pretty enough for me to come back to Korea to start my personal life here, and maybe with my family, I would say Korean family, and move back to Japan or France or Singapore. I came here to, sounds really funny, but get married with Korea. And I started a family just 2 years ago, and we're actually preparing for moving out after this business.
Yeah, why? Why and where?
Why? If I choose the close countries, it would be Hong Kong or Singapore, Japan included, but my wife doesn't like it. So probably some Chinese background countries like Singapore or Hong Kong.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I want to go back to Paris, which I really loved.
Yeah.
And why? Basically, I would say it's an Asian culture that you have to work really hard and study really hard, and all the peer pressures. That makes you strong. That makes you a strong country. But if I want to, that's why I am maybe more patriotic than other guys. But if I ask myself, hey, do I want my kid to be in that environment as well? I don't want to. So I don't want my kid to become the number one in school. I don't want my kid to push my kid to become good at everything. I just want her to be happy. And I think living in Korea, I wouldn't say it's the most ideal place for being relaxed and enjoy her life, enjoy my daughter's life.